Welcome back, everyone. This is Morning Minutes for Thursday, March 6, 2025. And today our topic is the foresight of faith. In the book of John, chapter 14, verses 13 and 14, Jesus says, "Whatever you ask in my name, that I will do, so that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If you ask me anything in my name, I will do it." Now, everyone has likely heard the phrase, hindsight is always 20/20, especially in the context of bad decisions or choices. However, as believers in Jesus, I would submit to you that our foresight can and should be 20/20 as well. The book of Hebrews says this in chapter 11, verse 1. "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for and the conviction of things not seen." And in Romans chapter 8, verse 25, the Apostle Paul concludes this, "But if we hope for what we do not see, with perseverance we wait for it eagerly." Let's dig a little deeper then. Prior to the opening verse in the book of John chapter 14, Jesus had just finished telling the disciples, and by proxy us, that the works we'd seen him do, that we would do the same and even greater. What works did Jesus do that he was referring to? Nothing much, just casting out demons, healing them of physical maladies and emotional and spiritual sickness, and, oh, by the way, raising people from the dead. So to frame this correctly, Jesus was telling us we would do greater things than those in his name if we asked it according to his will. Now, before you scoff, consider these verses from Romans chapter 8, verses 10 and 11, and what it really means to you. It says, "But if the Spirit who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Jesus Christ from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his Spirit who dwells in you." Let me save you some suspense. If you know Jesus as Savior today by your own confession of faith, then the same Spirit that raised him from the dead now lives in you. This is why Jesus could say such things with confidence. He already knew. Now here's the part where most of us stumble. In the Hebrew, there are two words for imagination, yaster and demion. The word yaster is to form or fashion, to purpose. It is to squeeze into shape as a potter does with clay, like in Isaiah chapter 26, verse 3, for example. The word demion means resemblance, likeness, or similarity. The root word is dama, which we see in Genesis chapter 1, verse 27, where God created us in his image or likeness. God uses these words in a variety of ways, but this is generally true in each one. He first conceived of a thing, then he spoke, and then what he conceived came to be. Sound familiar? Well, it should, because that, my brothers and sisters, is faith. More specifically, the foresight of faith. Not the benign version we bandy about like a catchphrase. I mean real faith. Faith that believes every single word that Jesus spoke was true, and the very power of God is available to all those who believe, as Paul says in Romans 1, verse 16. This is not some prosperity gospel or wishful thinking. Jesus didn't stop at John 14. He made sure the disciples and we who would later read his word, heard it multiple times in different circumstances, just in case we missed it. In Luke 17, verse 6, it says, "And the Lord said, if you had faith like a mustard seed, you would say to this mulberry tree, be uprooted and planted into the sea, and it would obey you." And in Matthew chapter 21, verses 21 and 22, it says, "And Jesus answered and said to them, truly I say to you, if you have faith and do not doubt, even if you say to this mountain, be taken up and cast into the sea, it will happen." Think of it this way. If you set out to accomplish something, you have to first see yourself doing it. In here and up here. You must believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that what you've endeavored will come to pass. Then and only then is anything accomplished. Faith, the way Jesus describes it and the way it is laid out in God's economy, is no different. The key is found in the book of 1 John chapter 5, verses 14 and 15, which states, "This is the confidence we have before God, that if we ask anything according to his will, he hears us. And if we know that he hears us in whatever we ask, that we have the request which we asked from him." So let's review. We know that people being possessed, sick, and dead is not the will of God. It's the opposite. So we can cross those off the list. There is truly no ambiguity in God's will. If you aren't sure what it is in a particular situation, first ask, then read what his word has to say and meditate on it. It is living and active and available to all. So today I'll leave you with another verse from 1 John chapter 5 and verse 4. It says, "For whatever is born of God overcomes the world, and this is the victory that has overcome the world, even our faith." Now go let your foresight be 2020 and leave hindsight to itself. And as always, make today a great one.